something one considers when balancing the universe. But this does put a smile on my face.
Alright. Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's your boy Kos, with my review of Infinity War Part 1. So, if you don't want any spoilers, please turn off this video, because there are going to be a ton of them. So, the movie starts off just hitting you in the feels. I mean, it picks up right where Thor Ragnarok and Black Panther left off. So, the entire saga is coming to a head in this one movie, and all of these Marvel movies are converging in this one event, which is it's spectacular. It's been a great ride so far. Marvel Disney has been lately killing it with the movies, not so much with the comics. Disney has been no good for Marvel's comics. And I don't understand how the movies can be true to the source material than the actual comics are. I mean, I don't know what is going on with Marvel's comics now. Now they just push an agenda, and I just, for the most part, just stay away from Marvel now. But the movie starts off with a lot of people dying, a lot of people you've gotten attached to dying. So Thor almost dies. Just basically all the Asgardians get killed, every single one, and you just spent all of Thor Ragnarok trying to save everybody, and everyone is dead now. Thanos takes the Infinity Stones. He already has two, so he takes the Infinity Stones, crushes the Tesseract, and gets one, and then he heads to Earth and sends his henchmen. I was surprised the movie didn't feel like it was too all over the place, like it wasn't. I felt like with all these characters coming on screen, that the movie would feel kind of disjointed and all over the place. But fantastic editing, and choosing which scenes would go where, and how it would shape the story. Just fantastic. But and there's always a but. But I feel like with Thanos, they made him so human, almost human. But it was sort of creepy how they wanted you to relate to him. They wanted you to feel like a connection to him, and you don't want to feel connected to this madman, who wants to kill half the universe. And you don't want him to succeed, but then he does. And it basically becomes his story instead. and I like that. It instead of centering around Tony Stark like all these other movies do, I have to say, like, his new armor is sick. All nano machines creating his armor, that is sick. Bleeding edge armor, that is just awesome. You don't want his plan to succeed, but then it's just like, everything you do doesn't stop him, and he wins anyway. Like, what happens when the bad guys win? So basically, the Hulk is, as a Hulk fan, this movie was very triggering for me. So I was quite upset. Uh, the Hulk was basically not a factor in this entire movie. Uh, if I had one gripe about this movie, it's that the Hulk has been getting lowballed this entire saga. Like, he's been getting just he's become like a jobber for the entire MCU, and it's the complete opposite of the comics. Everyone else is a jobber for the Hulk, or at least that's how it seems to be. They come in, Hulk needs a villain of the week. They come in, they do their job, and get beat up, and Hulk prevails. But then again, there are a ton of other jobbers, I guess. Galactus is sort of a jobber, but I'm getting off topic. The movie is very ambitious. It introduces a lot of characters. Uh, the henchmen were interesting, but you don't get a lot of background information on them. Because you don't need a lot of background information on them. Like Proxima Midnight, she comes on screen and she starts like you know wrecking shit, and it's just like she's she's fighting Scarlet Witch and Black Widow, and in the comics she's like fighting Luke Cage and the Hulk, and it just I don't know. I feel like Marvel has the need to nerf the Hulk, and it's just unnecessary, and I'm just uncomfortable with it, especially after they just gave Thor a giant boost of power in his last movie. And they just recently gave him a new hammer, which I mean, two things about this movie. I mean, the story was great. I mean, like a ton of people died, so that really tugged at your heartstrings, and a lot of your favorite Marvel heroes they died. Spoiler alert: Spider-Man dies. Uh, a bunch of people from your movies die, and Star Lord is just really kind of a douchebag in this movie. Um, and another thing I was interested to see, but I wasn't sure how it would pan out, was to see how the egos of all these leaders of these their own various squads would clash. All these characters, they do their own thing, they have their own lives, they lead their own superhero lives, and then to bring them together in one film to work together, that's like an all-star game where you have several superstars from several different teams, and now they have to they're each leaders on their own squads, and now they have to come together, put their egos aside for a greater cause. Uh, so that's kind of how it was to me, and they did clash, and it was really cool to see how these different characters from they have different abilities and different strengths and weaknesses, how they came together to oppose a villain that threatened all life in the universe. um, I didn't think that uh, I didn't think that it would be portrayed so well as it was. I thought that it could be messy, but then I was like, well, Marvel has been doing this kind of thing for years. They did it um, back in the 70s and 80s with their major crossover events. So surely it could translate to the screen. But then I was thinking about how they could fit it within like 2 or 3 hours. And you have movies like Transformers 5 with a lot of characters, uh, or just the Transformers series in general. And they've had a lot of characters, and a, a lot of the time you just don't feel interested. You're not interested. You're disconnected from these movies because you just don't feel like these characters mean anything. Like Optimus means something. Bumblebee means something. Um, they've had their characters develop over so long, and then you have Grimlock and like people who are just introduced and then they have no speaking roles. You don't have a scene where you connect with the character. Um, they don't have any goals. They're just a big robot that wants to smash things. So it was the complete opposite with this because there was a lot of build up over like I don't know how many films now. It's been 10 years, so it's been a lot of movies. But there's been a ton of build up. So this is like the big payoff. This is like what it should all lead to. And it was kind of sad to see Spider-Man get killed after only his second appearance in the MCU. So I mean, Star-Lord and Iron Man and Doctor Strange, they all think very highly of themselves, and their egos just clash. And Star-Lord, he comes out as just being like a brash, arrogant douchebag. You want to strangle Star-Lord in this movie after he just friggin' messes up Mantis and her concentration on trying to get the gauntlet off of him. He gets severely triggered by Thanos telling him that he had to kill Gamora. Um, and so he gets really pissed and starts hitting Thanos while Mantis is trying to like subdue his mind, and so they can get the gauntlet off of him and take the Infinity Stones. And it was just like how dumb can you be, bro? And you mean to tell me that Doctor Strange couldn't? Yeah, that's another thing that bothered me. Like Thanos used the Time Stone, but you mean to tell me Doctor Strange couldn't use the Time Stone to reverse that? To reverse Thanos breaking free? It doesn't make any sense. That part. Yeah. And I think this is like maybe a year or two after the Doctor Strange movie. Um, so he's considerably more powerful now, and he couldn't use the time stone to just reverse all that had just happened. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but other than that, it was a good conflict, and Doctor Strange apparently had to give up the time stone instead of teleporting Star-Lord elsewhere and saving them a lot of time and effort. Instead of doing that, he gave up the time stone, and a lot of people died. Vision died, Mantis died, everyone, like half of the squad died. And the battle for Wakanda was just like just insane. I didn't think I would ever be scared of like CGI creatures, but those things scared the crap out of me. Like it's just like what? And I was expecting the Hulk to come out and fight, and man, it would have been so awesome. But no, Thor stole the show and just took out like a million of these creatures that were attacking them. It was just like, any day now, Hulk. Any day would be great. As a Hulk fan, this movie just triggered me a lot because I'm just like, bro, how long are you gonna lowball the Incredible Hulk? Like, how long are they going to lowball this character? Right? I mean, we get it. We want the character to be realistic, but at this point in the story, man, come on. Like Thor is the equivalent of Odin now. He has the freaking Thor force or whatever, and it can hurt Thanos with 5 Infinity Stones. I mean, yeah, 5 Infinity Stones. It doesn't make a bit of sense. How can how can the Hulk lose to Thanos with two Infinity Stones, right? And Thor can injure him when he has five. Heck, even Iron Man could mess with Thanos. They were still able to mess with him like a little bit when he had four Infinity Stones. It doesn't make any sense. Like, it was just very inconsistent, and I'm just like, the Hulk, his power is to get stronger and more durable the angrier he gets. All right, and you take this character and you make him, you lowball him, and you make him into this whimpering like little kid. Yeah, you make him into this character that doesn't want to come out the entire movie. Like, come on, man. It was ridiculous. That first scene in the movie was just like, it really pissed me off because I was just like, are you serious? Yeah. In the comics, Thanos is only really stronger than the Hulk with the Infinity Gauntlet. It, it was just really upsetting. I mean, Thanos is strong, yeah, but not without the Infinity Gauntlet. I mean, it was so stupid to see him like actually put up a fight against the Hulk. Yeah, I have to say that so far this is the weakest version of the Hulk I've ever seen on screen, and I mean, or the most inconsistent version, because how can it just frustrates me because in Ang Lee's version of the Hulk, we see the Hulk get stronger, we see him get bigger, we see him heal like ultra quick, and he's just like he's such a beast in that movie, and he emits gamma radiation, and he's just an absolute monster. And in Thor Ragnarok and in this movie, they lowball the crap out of him. He only lasts like maybe 20 seconds in a fight with Thanos. And I was just like, what, what? That is like the opposite of what of what the Hulk does. That is the opposite. The longer the fight goes on, though, the stronger the Hulk becomes. So it would have made more sense if they blasted him out into space and ended the fight, or if Thanos contained him in some kind of bubble or something like that, and tossed him out, and did something like that. That would make far more sense. But to actually like go fist to fist and knock out the Hulk, I was just like, are you serious? Even the Hulk Buster fight, I was like, I was massively triggered by the ending, but then I was just like, okay, well, maybe I can excuse that because the Hulk had calmed down for a little bit and Iron Man took a cheap shot. Okay. And then they were just like, this movie, they were just like, okay, like, Bruce was like, "Oh well, I already got my ass kicked by this Hulkbuster armor." You know you didn't, dude. You barely lost because this guy took a cheap shot, and they were trying to they, they use Hulk as like sort of this standard of what is strong, and he just becomes kind of a jobber to the rest of these other stronger characters because he becomes Worf essentially. He becomes the measuring stick of what is strong, and then when someone who's stronger comes along to prove how strong they are, they'll just be like, "Oh well, I'll just knock out the Hulk," you know. And then the audience goes, "Oh no, the Hulk is knocked out." It's just like the Hulk is more than just some blockhead with strength. He's more than that, and they haven't done this character justice. They haven't. My only gripe is that like they haven't shown just how powerful he is. Yeah, they haven't. They've do a grave disservice to anyone who has ever bought or been a fan of the Hulk. Yeah, and I hope that changes because Hulk is one of the few heroes who survives. Uh, and he just, the whole movie, he just would not come out, and it was just like, come on, man, come on, dude. You know, he wouldn't even come out against the henchmen. Like, really? I guess because Hulk was so emotionally damaged over that loss that he took, which should not have happened, which was absolute BS. Um, you know, and an actual fight between the actual Hulk and Thanos would have destroyed that ship and would have probably killed all three of his henchmen, um, by accident. By accident. That's how strong he is, and it's just like to actually be a fan of the Hulk and to read the comics and just know how strong he is, and then watch the movies and see him get manhandled like that. I was just like, are you serious right now? Like, just not doing this character any justice at all. So yeah, as you can tell, I'm massively triggered over that. But other than that, other than that, the movie was an epic movie, and it was, there was loss, there was pain, there were surprise appearances by characters we thought were dead. Uh, Red Skull, and there were Lady Death did not appear though. Lady Death did not appear, which was disappointing to me, because I guess that would imply Deadpool and all that. And Lady Death didn't appear. That was kind of disappointing. Nebula comes back and she's like, she gets tortured by Thanos, and Thanos is just everywhere, just messing everyone up. So he and at the end he wins, and he watches the sunset over a grateful universe that is half dead. So I don't know what part two is gonna be like. They're probably gonna introduce Adam Warlock and Miss Marvel based on, oh yeah, that after credit scene where Samuel L. Jackson utters his famous mother effer. uh, I knew they would have him do that eventually, but it was just nice the way it was shot. And there's chaos all around the city because half of the population is disappearing and vanishing into dust. Uh, so it was, that ending was kind of just, it just had everyone in the theater like, what? Like, what the hell is going on? And everyone was just like really puzzled as to just like what the heck just happened. You know, it's just everyone just disappeared. Like Peter is just like, I don't want to die, Mr. Stark. Yeah, and then he dies. And everyone was just like, yo, no, man, they killed my dude Peter. So yeah, there were a lot of tragic deaths. Groot had his moments. Um, Groot died, but the handle that he made for Thor for his new hammer didn't disintegrate, which is funny to me. Um, T'Challa died. Star Lord and basically the whole Guardians crew died. Um, Doctor Strange died. Uh, a bunch of people died, man. It's crazy, dude. Like, so yeah, if you want to see a good movie, this part is pretty tragic. I'm sure part two is gonna be a lot better. Um, and it's gonna wrap this up really well. I feel like the build up in the story has been great. Like they introduced the gauntlet, they introduced who crafted the gauntlet, they built off of that and had Thor make a new hammer, and you know, I feel like the only gripes I've had so far have been how they portrayed the Hulk and how they portrayed Spider-Man. They portrayed the Hulk as being just another dumb brick, just another dumb strong guy who has no other powers, which is wrong. They portray Spider-Man as having need of every bit of Tony Stark's technology when everyone knows that Peter Parker in the comic books is just as much of a genius as Tony Stark, if not more so. He just doesn't have the means to use it. He just didn't inherit a ton of money, and he's a genius with like ordinary guy problems. You know, he's poor and living in his living with his aunt, or in an apartment. His parents died and he's just trying to finish school. And but he's still a genius. He crafted his web shooters by himself. And he made his suit by himself. And I guess Spider-Man Homecoming takes that away from the character, because then his existence is solely due to Iron Man being there, and it's just a huge drawback. I mean, I just don't like how central Iron Man has become to everything surrounding Marvel, when 10 years ago this character was like a tertiary background character, like maybe like sort of as important as Thor, like maybe half as important as Thor. The main three characters of Marvel were always the Hulk, Wolverine, and Spider-Man, and maybe Captain America too. So it's been kind of weird seeing Iron Man at the forefront of everything. He does have potential, and they have expanded on it throughout this entire series. But come on, the Hulk getting wrecked by Thanos, like really, with only 2 Infinity Stones and not even the Power Stone. It wasn't even the Power Stone. He didn't even have the Power Stone. It was so stupid. Like, I'm just massively triggered over that. Anyway, it's your boy Kos. Go see Infinity War. It's part 1 is really good, and it's the bad guy wins basically. All right, it's your boy Kos signing off. Peace. Raise it up. Raise it up.